So, I was at the ATM the other day, and standing in front of me was a little old lady, and she said she was having problems seeing, and would I be able to help her check her balance? So I pushed her over. Can you think of anything worse than being scalped? I can't think of anything off the top of my head. Anyway, hello everyone. Welcome to Black Dog version 2, episode 85. I'm Lee.
I'm Darren.
I'm Jim.
I'm Elton.
And this week we will be seeing how everyone's week has been. We will get some feedback on last week's episode, which was Things to Come, and then we'll move on to this week's movie, which was Darren's choice, which is Darren?
The Hunt.
The Hunt. Make sure you spell that right. Otherwise, there's all sorts of typos that could get you into trouble. Anyway, so before we get into that, we will see how everyone's week's been, and we'll start with you, Jim. How has your week been, sir?
All right.
Okay.
Last week, so I had that infection, which I spent most of last week dealing with. As a kind of, it was one of those kind of horrible sinus infections where every day I wake up going, right, where's it going to hurt today? All right, corner of the jaw today. Tomorrow might be on the side of your face and on the top.
Oh, shit.
So it's been a lot of vitamin C, a lot of steam inhalations, Lemsips, small amounts of codeine when necessary, when it's particularly particularly painful, because there's nothing worse than sinus pain. It is like someone just jabbing you in the face with needles. But it seems to have just got over it now. But I say it might be what they're calling stealth COVID.
Stealth COVID?
Stealth COVID?
Well, there's a new strain of Omicron, which is more infectious. But most people, you don't tend to get the fever or the cough. But you do get feeling like headachy, swollen glands, sore throat, odd muscular pains, fatigue, all of which I had, even though I did tests, but it came out negative. But if you're triple vaxxed often, apparently you can have a dose of it, but it's not enough to trigger it on your ordinary lateral follow test.
Okay.
So yes, I'll be I've done a certain amount of staying in, but I do that anyway,
Yes.
really, apart from walking the dog.
Yeah, it's a sensible move, really.
Well, it's a lifestyle choice, really.
In this
One
day,
I've
and age.
adopted.
Yeah, I love it. I can't get enough of it myself.
So other than that, what have we done? Well, I did watch a film. Finally, get to see a film I won't see for ages. I noticed it was up on Amazon for rental, and I ponied up the money like a good lad. And that was the new Edgar Wright film, Last Night in Soho.
Oh, what do you think?
I really, really enjoyed it. I thought it was just
Good, isn't it?
a belting film, just fantastic atmosphere, look. I just ticked all the boxes, and just really good cast, good storytelling, good visual storytelling, and I thought really well done, sir. Well done. Should win tons of award, but it won't, and you know why? Because it committed the cardinal sin of being entertaining and interesting to ordinary people.
Indeed, with it stuck to the landing as well. I thought.
Yes.
Do you think that, Jim?
Yep, definitely. And
Yeah.
I didn't see how it turned out coming at all, and it was like, oh, you clever bastards, got me.
Nice.
Well done.
Yeah.
Because I bought it sight unseen on Blu-ray, so I'm still to watch it. That's my plan probably tomorrow, actually.
Oh, you're in for a treat,
So
sir.
I'm going to see. Even though I paid to rent it, I will be buying it on Blu-ray because that's kind of like that's a film. I wanted to watch it again. After we finished it, it was like kind of like, oh, that was just proper cinema. Just you come out of a good film and you feel like cinematically you've had a good 5-course meal.
Nice.
Lee,
It's
you
that
might-
kind of
feel
movie.
like you're in it as well, Lee.
What? Sorry?
I said you might feel like you're in it as well, Lee, because there are places you'll recognise straight away.
Oh God.
'Cause
Okay.
it's all filmed around where near you used to work, that
Oh.
sort of thing. And where Nellie Dean as well. It's
Oh, good
across
Lord.
the bar across the road from there. It's filmed in there as well.
Okay. So I've got to look out for John Landis looking at the Big Book of Butts. Yeah?
That's right. Yes.
All right. Does he?
Definitely in that neck of the woods.
I was going to say, does he
Pardon the
feature
phrase.
in that?
The suspect men with beards looking in dodgy bookshops. I'll tell you that much.
I bet there is.
It might be a cameo if you look carefully. I don't know.
Probably wandering around the alleyway around Madame Jojo's, I would imagine. Yes. Oh God. Even to this very day, I've not been in that area. I've not been in that area as sort of walking to work or anything since 2012, and I still have vivid ability. I have a vivid ability to recall the greasy, cold Chinese meal smell at 8 o'clock in the morning coming off the wet cobblestones. That's a feeling. It's the one thing where you walk through the streets and you feel that cloying atmosphere, like a mist made of MSG.
Oh God, yeah, it is like that, isn't it? It's that wave, that sort of like Whereas if you fry food in your house and you've got washing nearby, it sticks to your clothes. With this, it literally clings to the air.
Well, it clings to your soul by the time you've walked through it for about an hour. Anyway,
The closest I got to that was when I was working in pubs, but in the morning, like the morning after the night before, where everyone else had been out on their jollies, and I'd got a call out in the morning on Sunday morning, and you're walking across like the sticky dance floor, and everything smells of like stale beer, and it's grim. It's got a specific smell as well.
yeah.
Of just rank beer mixed with Red Bull and vodka and all the other beers
And-
all over the place. It's disgusting.
And that cinema smell damp that you used to get in the 70s. Yeah. It's
Yes.
that combo that you can't place it anywhere else. It's like going into a carpet shop, and you can always go into a carpet shop and go exactly where you are.
It's a
'cause of the-
carpet shop, isn't it?
Because
Yeah.
it smells of that thing. But
That particular smell.
Anyway, Jim. So apart from the olfactory side of it, I mean, was the rest of it? The rest of the film was good. Yeah.
Oh yes, and I just really, really enjoyed it.
Nice.
That's one. Yep, I'm going to get that on Blu-ray for the collection.
Nice.
Well, I
Can't
think
wait
it's-
to go back to that. That's real. So very satisfied.
Could be a future viewing on the Black Dog.
Well, you never know if it actually turns up on something that doesn't need paying for.
Yes.
But I tell you what, Juicy Dangler, my choice for next episode. Oh, we are right up to date. I'm telling you that now. We're going to be right up to date.
Darby O'Gill and the Little People.
Yes, that's it. Yeah. The
Is it that Digby and the massive dog or something?
Clifford the Big Red Dog.
That's it, yeah.
It's that one, isn't it? Yeah.
Max Clifford the Big Red Knob. I mean, sorry, dog. Anyway.
The end of the film is bad, isn't it?
Yeah, it kind
Falls
of
off a boat. Oh no, never mind. I thought dogs could swim. Oh, that fucker, he's massive.
Yeah, look at him. Right, that's Robert Maxwell, the Big Red. No, anyway.
Oh, I got the bloody names wrong.
We're back. Are we back to Master and Commander of starring Kurt Russell?
Kurt Russell Crowe, yes.
Kurt Russell Crowe.
Sounds like a bad transporter accident, that, doesn't it? An awards ceremony.
Yeah, it sounds like one of those things you get in the sort of Richard Osman House of Games thing, where they kind of smash the two things together, like West Virginia Wade or something like that. Anyway,
Oh to be young enough not to know what you meant by that.
Yeah, well, Anyway, so is there anything else, Jim?
No, I'll leave that there, I think.
Okie dokie. Well, then in which case we shall move on to Elton, sir. How are you?
I'm good. I have a question for Jim first off before I get to my
Okay.
week.
Yep.
I'm after right. I know I cocked this name.
You did cock it up earlier. Go on.
It's
You got one of two ways to jump, mate. Which one are you going to go for? Nobody knows what the fuck we're talking about. Don't type it up. Don't type.
Theremin. No,
Don't type it up. Don't type it up.
I'm not typing.
God, this is the audio equivalent of somebody trying to balance on ice skates, isn't it? It keeps falling over as they get up again.
It's like Bambi going across a pond.
Yep.
I'm after one of those theremin thingamajiggies.
Are you sure it's a theremin?
It might be a theremin. No, because I said theremin, and then I said no, not pheromone, because I didn't want a parcel from Jim, like a
bottle that attracts
bottle
killer
of drink.
bees.
Yeah. Oh, what's this? Just splash this over yourself.
There was that bottom
Theremin.
episode with the pheromone spray.
The theremin.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you know these little.
That
That's
of
the
thing,
one.
you mean.
Yes, but. So
Plus-
is that like one of them pocket recorder thingamajiggies?
No, this was a theremin app, actually. It's not.
Mm.
Shut up. Of
Mr.
which there are many.
Owlskull, hi.
Which there are many available. There's all sorts of theremin apps. If you want to actually get a real theremin, they are a bit pricey.
Oh goodness, no! I can't afford anything like that. I'm just after an app.
Yeah, there is tons of them of varying quality. That one's a bit electronic, actually. I had a better one on my old phone, but but it's on my old phone, so that's no use, and that's downstairs. But
Oh, we'll wait, Jim.
great radio was man finds thing on his phone.
Yeah. Sound of him going, bugger, what the fuck, where is it?
Oh, what
What's
have I
it
downloaded
called?
now? Oh, I'm paying $13.99 for something. I don't know what.
Turn the fucking
No,
ads off.
there's tons of free ones. I think it was Easy Theremin. Let me just check that. I don't know if it's available on Apple, but usually if they're available on one, they're available on the other one.
Yeah.
It's Theremin World. Come to
And-
Theremin World for all your theremin needs.
And them little computer thingy, the little synthesizer.
Pocket operators.
That's it. Do they do one at all?
No. They're theremins are a different beast because theremins work. They're a little box, and they've basically got two aerials,
Mm-hmm.
and the aerials generate electric field, and one controls pitch and one controls tone. And so you actually play it by waving your hands near the aerials.
Yeah.
But you can get one on the phone, which kind of where you can just swipe a dot to various different or two dots to different axes on the touch screen to the same
Yeah.
effect, pretty much.
I went to a concert once, which was just an old lady playing a theremin once.
Have we just started the episode again? I feel like this is like a dad joke.
No. It's not a dad joke.
Oh,
No,
okay.
I literally, Rob, the chief spry of this parish, he actually had a spare ticket to go and see this lady who does theremin, and I was down in Bristol anyway, and we went to this thing, and she was very famous because she'd done the theremin on I think it was either the Forbidden Planet or something like that, or one of those kind of real This Island Earth or something like that, and it was the most surreal experience because we had front row seats and we're standing there, and it was like this big church hall, and this lady who looked like someone's nan, dressed up for a sort of 70s sort of lounge dinner thing, comes out with this box that looks like a shoebox, a single piece of metal, and then like a loop, and she just stands there going. And after about a minute of this, I'm thinking, oh, this is amazing. This is cinema history right here. But then it went on for another hour and a half, and I'm just like, oh, for fuck's, get off the stage. Give me.
I think it's all right for like one or two pieces of like 3 or 7 minutes long, and
it's good with something else. I mean,
not.
Hawkwind normally have a theremin player in their outfit, and that works well as kind of putting mad electronic whoops. But on the road, it is a bit it's a bit fingernails on blackboard after a while.
Well, you have was it Odes Martineau as well? Anyone ever heard of one of these?
What?
Yes, that's I don't know how to describe it. It's mental though.
Yeah, it's like a keyboard with a wire that you can drag along, and it acts like the theremin.
There it is.
I knew it.
The pheromone, eh?
Yeah, and it's got different speakers. One of the speakers is a gong, so you reverberate the sound through this hole, which bounces off a gong, which adds like a metallic sound to it. And there's another speaker in the shape of like a harp, and you push it through this sound box once again, and it rattles or vibrates the strings as well. So it's an interesting piece, but they are 40,000-50,000 pounds worth of equipment because you just can't buy them. So an app would be great.
So what are you going to do with this apart from obviously make music?
I'm just trying to scratch that itch that I have at the moment of just being creative.
Oh, you know what you need? You need a Wacom Wacom graphics tablet. Wacom Cintiq.
I'm just got an itch that I need to scratch, and I can't quite scratch it yet.
Oh, right, okay. And if you get one, are we going to get a nice rendition live on the cast?
No, definitely not.
Oh, all right.
But
fair.
If it works out, then I'll point you to links where you can listen to what I've done.
Nice.
Fair deal?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I guess we'll take it. We'll take what we can get. It's all content.
Yeah.
Cool. Anyway, so go on. Well, how was your week, by the way?
How was my week? Yes. Not a lot.
Theremin watch.
Yeah, Theremin. Yeah. I'm just bumming around.
Pardon?
Bumming.
Phrasing.
Do we
Bumming
not do
in.
that anymore?
Just bumming in the garage. Bumming in the
You've
front
got
room.
a bumming shed? Is this what you're telling us?
Just bumming in the bumming shed. Bumming around. Just a right good bumming, really. I think we all need a good bumming every now and again, and I had a bumming of wonderful proportions this weekend. It was glorious. Just bumming all over the place. Really.
Well, there you go.
But then
Yeah.
I don't know whether. Okay, there's two things. Number one, I recorded me editing a podcast on Twitch.
Right.
And now that video needs editing. Do I stream me editing the video that I was editing an episode in?
As long as you're not streaming you bumming.
Bumming, yeah.
I think we'll be fine.
Have you got that Pornhub jingle?
Oh, yeah. Dum, da-dum, dum, 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 dum. The one that nobody knows, apparently.
I didn't know it, honestly.
What's Babe Station?
What is Babe Station? Dum, da-dum, dum, dum, dum.
Like you said, it's always volume's always down.
Oh, God.
I forgot where we were now.
You were bumming in the shed.
Yeah, bumming around. Yes, I'm in two minds whether to stream me editing something that was me editing something. It's very meta, but I thought, why not? It'll be fun.
Editception.
Kind of, yes. And on another note as well, it was brought to my attention. This new Formula One thing, Drive to Survive, has come out, burst on the scene.
Right.
It's been dropped this weekend for everyone to watch. I'm not going to watch it. I wouldn't recommend anyone else watching it because it's frankly shite. But their logo is very, very similar to something that I recognise. And I'm just going to stick it in our little Facebook group thingy-jiggy.
Right.
Hang on. There we go.
Right, hold on. What we got here? Pin.
So what we have here...
Well, yes.
On the right-hand side, we have my logo for the Grand Prix podcast, which I designed 2006, end of 2016, 2017.
Yeah, you did. Mm-hmm.
And it's been there for quite a while. The only change that we've had over that course of time is the card that goes in the middle. It's very much like the FIFA boxes for PlayStation and Xbox.
Yes.
And on the left-hand side, you have the new logo for Drive to Survive on Netflix.
Well, I'm going to
Who
be
do
honest.
I complain to?
The copyright infringement, I think, is probably You start with a small claims court and go into copyright lawyering. But I guess the problem here is, have you got more money than Netflix to lawyer up?
No, and I don't want to bring to the attention that I have a Ferrari on the front of mine, because I'm sure they'll come for my head as well.
Well, there is a whole thing about rights issues there.
Oh, yeah, but either someone listens to us, or that's a very big coincidence.
Yeah, I feel like you'd have a case if it wasn't for the fact that you've got quite clearly a Ferrari sitting on the front. Even I know that.
Mm-hmm.
I think you'd have a good case for, someone has nicked my idea, and not only nicked my idea, but nicked my colours as well.
Colours and angle as well.
The angle's perfectly exactly the angle's exactly the same. In fact, I could do this, but I'm not going to.
In fact, the angles line up when you put them side by side.
Yeah, I was going to say they're actually the right height and everything. But also the fact is that the Pantones of those blues are exactly the same. The only thing is the dark lines, they've gradiated them, but and the orange is slightly lighter. But to be quite honest, I think you'd have a case. You'd certainly have a case. I tell you what, change your logo to just a different car, take them to court. But what I don't think it's not the same form. It's not the same font. That's
it's not the same font. But I don't know. Maybe it's homage. Maybe it's just pure luck.
Or maybe it's just outright copying.
It could be as well.
I think it probably is. But the problem is because I saw something like this, and I unfortunately had to shit on someone's parade on one of the 3D forums I inhabit, where someone has gone to Disney World and seen an image of a tiki character for some part of the Disney World ride experience, and it's just an icon on a wall. Mm-hmm. And he then took it away and then took that picture and then went and made a 3D tiki mug out of it.
Ah.
Yeah. And then what he did was, because he didn't want to get done by Disney, he put the STL, the 3D printed thing, up on the internet. So to sort of say, look, I'm not making any money from it. Here it is. It's free to everyone.
Mm-hmm.
At which point Disney immediately took it, printed it off, and are now selling it at a premium.
Oh,
wow.
So he's now got this problem of, well, I can't really complain because I've nicked their icon. And I've made it into a 3D thing. I don't own the IP, yet somehow they're actually making money off of my work.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, your problem is that as soon as you get into that grey area of, well, who owns what? Well... you're kind of stuffed.
He's using their intellectual property, isn't he?
Exactly.
So that's what it boils down to.
Exactly. And unfortunately, he didn't like to hear that, and I got called all sorts of names. But unfortunately, just because you call me names doesn't make it any less true. and and I'm not
Unfortunately,
sure.
name calling doesn't stand up in court.
Not really.
Not a recognised legal defence.
yeah. Your mum is not a defence that holds up much water, to be honest. Anyway, So unfortunately, Elton, I think you might be kind of stuffed there, mate.
Oh, I know. It's just, yeah. Someone asked me, "Am I annoyed?" I was like, "No, I'm not annoyed at all." Just, it's just a massive fluke. It probably is just a massive fluke.
It's not a massive fluke, mate. It's not. I'm telling you now.
I don't know.
Definitely not. Definitely not.
Oh, well, thank you to the person at Netflix for listening to our show. Brilliant.
Yeah. Well, just get him to look at ours, because then if suddenly a movie review Netflix show turns up with a black dog on the front,
yes.
I can at least then really have a go at them, because that's my dog.
Crafts this year? Do you think? No.
Anyway,
was it? What's that? Did they ever do a sheepdog trials on the BBC? They ever used to? Didn't they used to televise those sheepdog competitions?
Yeah, we don't do logos for sheepdog competitions, mate.
No, but they might use the sheepdog instead of Winston. The same sort of thing,
Yeah, in the same style.
Same style.
Well, there you go. Well, I tell you what, come at me, BBC. Come at me. Come at me, right?
Bro.
I've got the original fucking logo here. I've got the vectors and everything. Come at me.
Exactly.
Wouldn't it be funny if, for the Gardener's World podcast, they had your old lawnmower insignia you did for that shop all those many thousands of years ago? There's no longer there. I've checked. It's not there.
I know.
It's gone.
Jones Mowers. I mean, they paid up front. That was 50 quid.
There you go. Beautiful.
50 quid for that logo.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. They wanted 50 quid for a logo for a hoarding. They just wanted a lawnmower with 2 thumbs up and 2 googly comic eyes. I thought, well, easy money. Did that.
What, like the telephone thing?
Yeah.
Was it direct line with the telephone that dialed itself?
Yeah, well, if you imagine a lawnmower,
Mm-hmm.
but with a little smiley face on the cutting bin,
Yeah.
that was at the front, like all old-fashioned push lawnmowers, and then a pair of eyes above that, and then where the front wheels were, there were actually 2 hands with thumbs up. I did that. Did it in vector graphics. Sent it off to the printers for them. They paid for the printing. I got 50 quid. Took me about 15 minutes.
Nice.
Yeah. If I could get that kind of 15-minute 50 quid sort of turnaround regularly, I'd probably have retired by now. But alas, there aren't any there aren't many lawnmower companies with such low standards of logo production floating about to keep me in chocolates and mortgages. Anyway, so yeah. Anyway, I had to retire from the lawnmower logo business, unfortunately.
Such a shame.
Went out on top, though, eh?
Yeah, I went out on a high. I'll be honest with you. Went well.
Yeah,
anyway,
50 quid bought a lot of weed. That's what
I'll tell you what, that 50 quid went. I'll tell you what that 50 quid went towards. That went towards a really nice mouse. Mouse with a laser mouse. Not one of these ones with the ball that you had to take out and polish. Oh no! I went right up for the IntelliMouse Explorer, my friend. I went to the top.
That's how old it is. You see, those mice were just coming out around about then.
Yeah.
50, technology,
and everyone was going 50 quid for a mouse, and I said, yeah, but it's got a laser in it. Yeah. So there you go. Anyway. This is turning into a random podcast, I'll be honest with you. No more than less than usual, but there you go. So, Elton,
it's not going to get any better.
No, it's not. So, Elton, apart from copyright issues with Netflix, I mean, Drive to Survive and bumming in sheds, what else has been going?
That is it. It's been a very quiet week, so
Yeah.
that's it. I'm afraid.
Oh, all right.
That's
Fair
all
enough.
I got for you.
No,
No, something
Oh,
I forgot last week.
Yes.
I started watching Reacher. I
Reacher.
got 2 episodes into Reacher on
Yeah.
Amazon.
Right.
I won't be going any further because
Right.
it's like Miss Marple but with less punching. It's just it's dire.
Miss Marple, but with less punch.
Yeah, with less punching. There's more punching in Miss Marple. It's terrible, man. I just didn't like it at all. There's staged fights. Okay, we have Reacher. He's a big bad dude, and bloke is stacked.
He is big, isn't he?
He's huge.
Massive.
Right.
But then they have to choreograph situations. Okay, so we've got this guy who likes to punch stuff. So now we need to put him into situations where he needs to punch stuff. And the bit where I bailed out, they ended up having an episode. The second episode, there was nothing happening. They were just turning into detectives and walking around, and all of a sudden he's allowed to cross the police tape. And okay, fine, he's pushing boundaries. What the hell was going on here? This isn't real life. This is a load of crap. And then someone went, well, hang on, we haven't had Reacher punch anyone yet. Okay, well, what we'll do, we'll have 4 teenagers come up to him.
Right.
Teenagers?
Yeah. And there was a... exactly.
Okay.
They're really struggling. Well, we can't have them fight men just yet, so we're having teenagers. So they
Gang of
rock up.
toddlers over there. Do you want to take them on at all?
So these 4 teenagers come up and start giving it to this huge fucking brick shit house. Like, that would never. It might happen, but from afar. But they're right up in his face, and then he spouts off a little bit. Oh, you don't want to get hurt. I will hurt you. I'll break you, and I will injure 3 of you because one of you has to drive to the hospital. And you're like, oh, okay, I know what's going to happen here. 2 minutes late. Well, 2 seconds later, 3 of them are lying on the floor. The other one's going, "Oh, I can drive to the hospital." It's just what. Pointless, utterly pointless.
Right.
So, no, not a
You
fan.
shall not be.
1 star.
1 star. Will not watch again.
Yeah.
Elton. Put that on the poster. 1 star. Will not watch again. Elton. Right. Okay.
But that's my week.
But that's your week. Okie dokie. Well, then in which case we'll move on to Darren. Did you manage to do 1 star, will not watch Elton?
Well, funny enough, as I was coming home on the train, I think I'm going to start a new section on Black Dog called Weird or Wank. That's
Right.
what I'm going to call it.
Weird or
'cause
wank?
Weird or wank. Is this thing I'm watching weird or just wank?
Right.
That's what I'm trying to figure out with this one show.
I'll take wank for 2, please, Darren.
Yeah.
Down to the bumming shed.
Yeah, anyway, go on. Weird or wank? What's that then?
Weird or wank? It's a show on Netflix that's part animated and part live action.
The show's not called Weird or Wank.
thought you were
right?
gonna say-
No, it's not
Part
called Weird or
Wank.
Wank. Weird or Wank, starting with Fred Dinage. There you go. Ah! It's like Hal with Fred Dinage. Do you remember Hal? Do you remember Hal? Fred Dinage, I'll tell you what, he was the nuts, that bloke. He really was. No, unfortunately, I don't think he's with us any longer now.
No, he
I
died
think he's
about a month ago.
He did, didn't he?
Yeah, something like that.
Because he ended up doing murder shows on one of the Sky TV channels. You know, like the world's biggest bastards or something, and it was Fred Dinage fighting them or something like that. But
Fred
he's a
Dinage
dirty-
fight.
he is a sand in the eyes type of bloke. He really is. I'm not joking. Don't fuck with Dinage, I tell you.
Well, you can now.
Well, yeah, of course.
I mean, you
But,
stand a fairly good chance now.
But no, getting back to this thing. Anyway,
Yeah.
it's called The Guardians of Justice. Now,
Okay.
on paper, it seems like a fairly sort of what is now average run-of-the-mill superhero show. Okay, very much like that animated one they had recently on Amazon. It was their show, Invincible.
Oh yeah.
It's a bit like that. It's this. It's kind of a little bit of a parallel universe to ours. It's World War III started in 1947, right? And as this thing was kicking off, suddenly this quarter to eight, this alien super being showed up and basically ended World War III in a day, right?
Right.
Okay, with his superpowers, and they called him Marvelous Man, right?
Right.
So it is trying to parody a lot of stuff. There's there's one character in it who is Batman. He's called Nighthawk, played by the WWE wrestler Diamond Dallas Page.
Right.
And I've got to say, even if you don't think much of his acting, he has got a decent Batman voice. And I'm not talking somebody who's got a throat infection.
Right.
I'm talking more the Kevin Conroy side of
he's going to
things.
talk like this.
Yeah, so, he can talk and then he can shout properly. He's not, I'm strong to the finish because I eat me spinach. He's not like that.
I'm Batman the Sailor Man.
Doot, doot. Yeah, exactly. So, it's... So what happens is they take you through this history and it's, quite... It's all right. The actual presentation of the history is actually quite stylistic. It flips between live action and animation between those bits to describe what's gone on. And the show basically starts off with Marvelous Man doing his yearly address on they celebrate the end of World War III every year, right? He's basically almost totally and utterly wiped out nuclear missile or nuclear weapons from the planet.
Right.
Okay, so everybody's been at peace for a while because of him.
Right.
Right, so he's kind of the catalyst in this whole thing. Nobody's kicking off because he manages to stop it every single time. Right, so he does his yearly address to the people on the anniversary of the end of World War III.
Right,
and instead of doing his usual thing of inspirational speech, he basically takes a gun with a bullet in it that's got this carbonite bullet. It's called this rock called carbonite, which is his weakness. And he puts the gun in his mouth and blows his brains out on television, right? And everybody's kind of like, what the fuck?
Right.
And so you have the people from the Palace of Righteous Justice. I mean, sorry, the Guardians of Justice.
Right.
Right? Sorry, it's a bad Harry Enfield sketch.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah.
Sword of Dobber?
Sword of Dobber, yes. We're going on to choose curtains.
Yeah.
So you have now this Nighthawk bloke who's now the head or the self-proclaimed head of the Guardians of Justice, trying to figure out why he offed himself, because nobody knows, right? There's absolutely no clue as to why he's done this. Right, he wasn't showing any strange signs beforehand. He was doing his job, but before he pulled the trigger, he was looking tired, weary, and just down.
Right.
That's it. So on paper, it's like a pretty standard premise. But in execution, I don't know. I don't know whether I'm all right with it or whether I'm not all right with it. It's one of them shows that leaves you a bit confused.
Right.
Do I like it? Is it so strange that I actually like it, or is it just so strange that I don't?
Right. What's this on, by the way? Is it Amazon?
It's on Netflix.
Oh, Netflix, right.
Netflix. And it's called The Guardians of Justice.
Right.
And it has various individuals from different, different actors who've been in genre TV shows like Stargate and stuff like that, showing up in this as various bit parts. So it's like the guy who played Tilk in bloody Stargate.
Yeah, Christopher, what's his face?
Him, right? He's playing the president, right? A very cheesy president called David E. Nukem. So you kind of get the angle they're going for on this. They're trying to make it parody, but it's very it's very Scott Pilgrim
Oh,
in the way it executes itself.
you've just written all my interest out in less than 2 seconds.
Yeah. Well, I would say watch the first episode and see if you think it's either weird or wank. I think I know where this is. I think I know where this is going. I think I know which side you'll come out on.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And it ain't weird. It's wank. That's what you'll say.
So there you go. So now I've got a legitimate reason to use the lighthouse foghorn now. Is
Yes.
it weird or wank?
So that's wank,
Yeah.
obviously. So what
Sorry.
we're just going to call weird? What sort of like noise you're going to have for weird?
I don't know, actually. I'm going to find a spring or something. Like
Yeah.
a boing. Boing or boing?
So weird or wank? I'll leave that for you to decide.
Okay.
So apart from that, the other two things that we did this week, we finished watching The Woman in the House Across the Street from the Girl in the Window.
Oh, good. Right, yeah.
Which was actually pretty good. Again, it can't seem to make up its mind whether it wants to be airplane-style humour or not. So it might put some people off of it, but I'd say stick with it because there are some genuinely funny bits in it. So, yeah, not bad. I wouldn't mind seeing a season 2 of it. So,
okay.
You know,
Yeah.
not baiting my breath for it, but
I'll be honest with you, the title just makes me just go, oh, fuck off. You're trying too hard. Straight away. It's just like, no.
Give it a watch. Give it a watch. See what you think. Right?
Okay.
When you've got nothing else to watch, give it a watch and just see. But it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad at all.
Okay.
And the other thing we started doing, watching in earnest, is we started watching The Witcher. Okay, so there's now 3 seasons of this out, and so
No, there isn't.
There is. I think there is. Oh no, it's 2 seasons. Sorry, 2 seasons now.
I'm going to say I haven't missed the season, have I?
No. So we've started watching that. We're up to episode 4 so far
Of the first season.
of the first season, and it's kind of I've worked out the structure of the show, which I think is actually pretty good the way they've done it. As long as you understand why people who are kind of like have been offed are suddenly showing up in certain scenes, because there's no warning
Yes.
for it. It just happens. So as long as you twig it,
Yeah.
I thought there was a little bit of an air of Westworld about the way they do things where that's concerned. Have you seen the first season of Westworld?
No, I saw a couple of it. I saw about 3 or 4 episodes, and I thought, well, I can't be bothered.
No, it's good. It's good,
I'll be honest.
and it's clever in its it is clever in its writing, that show.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, The Witcher, I really enjoy it, and I can see why the tune "Throw a Coin to Your Witcher" was so fucking popular.
Well, toss a coin to your Witcher, oh
Yeah,
valley of plenty.
Brilliant! I love that song.
Yeah,
Annoyingly so. It's kind of like I'm going to have to buy it, aren't I? Because it's not going to shut up in my head.
Yeah.
So, and it's very well sung anyway. It's really quite a catchy tune.
You
know?
should wait for season 2. That's all I'm going to say. There's a couple.
Right.
There's a
Did
couple
come out
like
with
that.
the Acid House remix?
No.
No.
There's other tracks.
Oh, there is. Oh, good. Excellent.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
I think my favourite line so far in the show is "Fuck off, Dandelion."
Right. Not.
No, not
Fuck.
Fuck. That's it. You know, shit's about to go down when he goes, "Fuck."
Fuck.
But no, it's "Fuck off, Dandelion." Yeah.
Fuck off, Dandelion.
But it's the abrupt way he just says it to him. "Fuck off, Dandelion." Oh, all right then. I'm sorry. I'll leave then, shall I? Yeah, speak on. So I'm enjoying it, and I'm also enjoying looking out for creatures that I've seen in the game and characters that I've seen in the game as well, who are in this. Dandelion being one of them, of course. So that's quite fun. Although it's like all of this, and one of the most popular creatures hasn't shown its face so far, and that's a drowner. So I'm looking out to see if they put drowners in this. Do they put them in? Do you know?
I'm not saying.
Oh, okay, all right.
Well, the thing is, you don't want it spoiled if they do, and if they don't, then you don't want to be sitting there going, "Oh, it's not worth it. There's no drowners."
Oh, but I'm not just watching it to see a drowner. I'm actually following the story quite well and enjoying that. And it's it is. It throws me a little bit because the people in the actual series don't look anything like the ones I've seen in the game. Anyway, they're totally different. And I'm kind of glad of that because they've gone for quality of performance over trying to get someone who looks like someone in the game who's not, very good at what they do. So, liking Yennefer in it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, yes, enjoying it.
Cool. Anything else, sir?
No, I don't think I've watched anything else or done really anything at all.
No problems. That's all cool.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, no, it's been a very sort of slow week this week.
Okay, no problems. Just quickly for me, the only thing I've done of any note was Carol got some tickets to go to the Eat and Drink Festival at Olympia on Sunday, and then it turned out to be attached to the Ideal Home exhibition, which I went to.
Woo!
So I went to that, and then found out there was a thing called a Conker House. which was a bizarre
phrasing.
Conker House. Yeah.
Is this the new wanking shed? No.
Yeah, it's the new Conker House.
Get your nuts out.
Yeah.
Well, it's got nuts in it.
Mine are spiky.
Yes. Squirrel Girl is coming to your Conker House. No,
but you like me conkers, don't you?
You like me conkers. you dung out you'll swab my conkers until I say you swab some more. It's amazing how The Lighthouse has been the film that's defined this generation of the podcast.
Yep. Kurt Russell Crowe in Where's My Conkers?
You like my conkers. Say you like my conkers. But damn you to hell. So yeah, it was a bizarre situation, the Ideal Home exhibition, because you see all these weird things, and the worst bit is you go into the food and drink section, and they're sort of handing out like little samples of food, and it was like a plague of locusts. It was literally like a plague of locusts. Some poor sod would make a mistake of handing out a small teaspoon of jam, and next thing you know, there'll be about 60 people all carrying like freebie bags, basically trying to rip his arm off to get at the spoon.
Jesus.
It's just like, I've not been uptown during a weekend for a long time, and I had such an experience. I think the last 2 years has made me agoraphobic because I got into town, and then like it turned out the buses were cancelled because of a St. Patrick's Day parade, so you couldn't get bus from somewhere. Then it turned out the trains were cancelled between two stations, so you had to get out and go somewhere else, and then we took the tube and then discovered that we had a Newcastle versus Chelsea match going on.
God.
So the entire tube train was taken up with either people go, Hey, Chelsea, hey, Chelsea.
Is it a pub singer you had on there? Was it a pub singer convention, was it?
I don't know.
Sheba, hey.
My bloke's got hairy legs, he kicks the balls, Chelsea. Fucking hell, I don't know what the fuck they were talking about. All I know is I sat there with my arm unfortunately pressed into the armpit of some other idiot who wanted to talk to his mates about how so and so was such a good scorer and he could do something, but he could scissor kick like no one else, and he jumped up and he hit the ball, and fuck me, I tell you what, I still don't remember a single solitary word he said, but you know what, I sat there listening to it to a 20 fucking minutes on this tube.
Jesus.
And I'm just like, I hate people. I hate people so much. I really, really hate people. And then coming back, it was even worse because we came out the thing, and as we did, it was obviously turfing out time for the match. Mm-hmm. So we've run into them all coming the other way. And the tube train, no joking, we were me, Carol, and the girls were the only ones with masks on. And this tube train, I think if we had all been sheep, I think the RSPCA would have pulled the train over and done the driver for unhumane practices or something, transportation practices.
Right.
We were just like all up against the glass, I can't move, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And it was fucking awful. And again, all you get is, oh, Chelsea, Newcastle, I've got a fucking arsehole. I haven't kicked the ball in yet. Why don't you eat, drink the beer? Yeah, Chelsea. Oh, fuck me. I literally felt like I was in like some kind of weird zoo. And I got to the point where I just looked at Carol and I just went, we're getting out of the next stop. I don't care where we are. We jumped out 7 stops early. Just get the fuck off this train. It was just like, it's awful. Awful. I just fuck London Transport. And then you got all these bloody signs up going, hey, you use London Transport, you've saved yourself like 4 gallons of CO2 or something. This is like, yeah, but I've used that all up breathing out horrible air in rage.
You did gain 3 types of COVID as you were doing that, so well done.
Exactly. That bloody tube was a petri dish. I'm telling you that now.
Yep.
So if this is my last episode, I'd just like to say, fuck you, Chelsea, fuck you, Newcastle United, and fuck football right up the arse. So there you go. That's about it, really. We're still watching. Carol's still going through her Marvel in cinematic timeline thing. So we just did Iron Man 2, which isn't as bad as all that. Now you see it in context. But it is still lackluster compared to the others. Other than that, still watching Babylon 5. I'm really enjoying that now. I'm skipping the episodes I know don't do anything. It's just like I'm not watching Michael York having a fucking flashback.
So you're not watching Grey 17 is Missing then?
I haven't got to that one, thank Christ yet. I will skip it when it happens. And those 2 idiots on the dry dock.
Right.
Yeah, I'm going to miss that one as well. But anyway, so, other than that, I'm playing Bloodborne. I put that on the PlayStation 5. I started playing that. It's still super hard. It still punishes you for even sneezing and looking boss-eyed at the wrong part of the screen. But I'm getting there. I think I've realised after being on a tube train that nothing can be as hard as that. so I'm putting up with an awful lot of shit from that game. And that's about it, really. There ain't a lot to say apart from fuck football. I hate it, and I hate everyone's stuck on a train going, oh, seals. Fuck off. Fucking ingrates. If you'd done that on your own, just standing at a bus stop, they'd fucking cart you off.
Yep, they would.
But no, because you're all wearing the same coloured shirts, you're in en masse, everyone goes, that's all right. Fuck off. Anyway, So that's that. Let's move on to feedback, because otherwise I'll just carry on ranting about that old nonsense. So last week we did things to come, and I think we found it sort of interesting, fascinating, but maybe slightly cold emotionally. I think it's a kind of a overall, saves you going back to last week's episode. But anyway, so we did have a bit of feedback on it. But mainly it wasn't about the actual episode. It wasn't about things to come. It was more about the rest of the episode, such as Anne-Marie Organ of the broadcast, who said when we were talking about tracing paper and the thermal conductivity of tracing paper to save my sweaty arms on a Wacom graphics tablet. And she said, isn't that Isal Loo paper? Isn't that supposed to be like the 3 seashells?
I think it is.
Because we were talking about how tracing paper and that the school toilet paper was the same stuff. And she goes, isn't that Isal Loo paper supposed to be the used like the 3 seashells? Mind you, they had it in the girls' loos as well. Never did work out how you were supposed to use it without mangling your minge.
That's your image for the day.
There you go. There you go. Thank you very much for that, Anne-Marie. And you can find her over at the podcast, podcast.libsyn.com, reviewing Picard and Star Trek and Buck Rogers, and hopefully having some kind of gynecological repair after all that tissue paper. Someone by the name of Teresa Burnside, I think you might know her, Jim, also piped up to say it's a fascinating conversation about a whacking chin peak machine with sweaty arms and tracing toilet paper. See, we give the audience what they want.
Nothing but highbrow here.
Yeah, whacking chin peak Cintiq machine. There you go. Simon Dennis, however, on the Facebook group, tries to bring it all back into actual theme and says, talking about the gun launching thing in things to come, they've actually sort of done that. And he points to an article of the thing called Spin Launch. Have you seen this?
That looks bonkers.
It's absolutely insane. I watched the link that Simon Dennis put up, which is spinlaunch.com, and basically it's the idea of putting a missile on the end of an arm, spinning it at high speed like a centrifuge, and then yeeting it into space. That seems to be it.
Okay.
And it works. They literally propelled. Yeah, it literally spins at like 7 million revs a second or something stupid like that in a complete vacuum, and then they just let it go, and it just goes straight up into space. It's like no propellant. It's just like yeet, as the kids say. So, and then Jeffrey Mark Hyman actually jumps in and says it's also a mention of a magnetic aspect to the gun, which brought to mind the idea of mass drivers. Yep, the idea of mass drivers, which was used in many a science fiction thing, including Babylon 5, where they basically take rocks and charge them up and just chuck them.
Yep.
Chuck them at planets. And so that's also got links. See, who says you don't learn things listening to this podcast? You learn that you can mangle your minge on tracing paper, and you also learn how to magnetize rocks and throw them at a planet. It's a wide-ranging scope. We cover so much, wide-ranging demographic. And Jeffrey also continues to say, this was another cracking episode, wonderful ramblings in the intro and great film discussion. I really enjoyed things to come, and I agree the best word to sum it up would be fascinating. So there you go. So that's for last week's episode. We do have some feedback for this week's episode, but I'll keep that until next time when we come back. Just in case anyone hears anything we say and wants to throw their 2 pennyworth in. So, if you do want to leave any feedback, do join us on the Facebook group, which is facebook.com/groups/The Black Dog Podcast. Or you can send in feedback on email, which is feedback@blackdogpodcast.com. Or you can hit us up on Twitter, which is actually almost close to being a daily event for me now, which is Black Dog Podcast. And then finally, that's it, really. Just those three things. I always think there's another one, but there isn't. Just go there. Email, Facebook, Twitter. Bosh. So, send some feedback in if you've got anything. You don't have to comment on this episode or last episode. If you've got something from a previous episode you want to get off your chest, by all means, throw it up there, and we'll talk about it. Yeah. So, that's it. Time to wrap this section up. And now it's time to roll the jingle. And when we come back, we'll be reviewing The Hunt. Right, so The Hunt is the 2020 American horror thriller film. Should also have comedy in brackets there, I suspect. Directed by Craig Zobel and written by Nick Cuse and Damon Lindelof. The film stars Betty Gilpin, who you might have seen from Glow, which she is kind of quite a big part of that. And Hilary Swank, and Jason Blum was the producer under his Blumhouse Productions banner. Along with Lindelof, Zobel and Lindelof have said that the film is intended to be a satire on the profound political divide between America's left and right wing. The film was first announced in March 2018, and the cast signed a year later, and the filming took place in New Orleans. The Hunt was released in theatres on March 13th, 2020, in one of the worst timed releases in human history. Thanks to the shooting in Dayton and also the El Paso mass shooting in August 2019. The film was originally meant to be released September 27th, 2019, but because of those shootings, was delayed. And then, March 13th, 2020. Wonder what happened at the middle of March in 2020, everyone. So the onset of COVID resulted in the closure of most theatres around that week, which resulted in the film underperforming at the box office. It had a budget of $14 million. How much did it make in its single solitary day opened across the world, Jim?
A Twinkie.
A Twinkie. Okay, cool. Elton?
All I can think of is producers running after the little pig like it's full of money.
Yeah. Yeah. One Orwellian pig. Yeah, Orwell. Snowball. Orwell. Oh no, Orwell and Snowball. Clunk. Sorry, I'll get to my bit. Dow, how much do you reckon it made?
I reckon it made a single bandola of bullets strapped across a jackrabbit.
Ah, right. Okay, fair enough. Well, actually, considering it was literally open for approximately a day, possibly a week tops, in the more risque areas of town, which weren't worried about things like death-eating pandemics. It actually made $16.2 million out of a $14 million budget.
Wow.
So it didn't do too bad.
That's impressive.
Not bad at all.
I bet half the budget went on bloody Windows.
Well, I think half the budget went on pig feed.
No more windows. No more windows.
No more glass. No more glass. So anyway, so the film is basically a remake of that. Pardon the phrasing because it doesn't indicate how I feel about it, but it's a remake of that hoary old cliche, The Most Dangerous Game, where humans hunt humans for sport, because we haven't seen that before. So let's go around the table and let's find what everyone thinks. And Darren, it's this was your pick, so you go last, sir.
Okay.
But we'll start with you, Jim. What did you think of this film, The Hunt?
Well, never let it be said I'm a man who can't admit when he was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Last week I said it can't be as bad as The Ice Road. I was wrong. So, Mr. Damien Lindelhurst, why don't you take a shit in your hands and give yourself a round of applause?
Well, I'll put you down in the maybe category then, shall I? Right, okay. Elton, what did you think?
Well, I'm on the other side of the fence. I didn't mind it, actually. I thought it was interesting the way that it tried to start and then tried to start again and then tried to start again. And, oh, yeah, we've only got a 45-minute film here, so let's pad it out and then start 20 minutes into the actual film itself. But I didn't mind it. It wasn't offensive. I think I got one or two chuckles out of it as well, and lots of rolling eyes. But that makes the experience even better.
Cool. Okie dokie. I found myself liking a lot of it, despite myself. However, I found that for every bit that I thought, oh, that's kind of sort of silly and sort of vaguely Looney Tunes-ish, I can let that go. I then found myself on the other end of the fence going, oh, come on, really? Because once again, our Mr. Lindelof can't write for fucking toffee. And certainly not the words subtlety in a word. If you're going to make satire and you're going to pick holes in one side or the other or both sides, then say something about it. Don't just go, they say this and they say that. It's just... But if you take the satire out of it, it was as you say, Elton, it was a 45-minute Looney Tune cartoon. So yeah, I found myself enjoying parts of it. I don't think I came away from it liking various aspects of it, such as Gilpin. I think she was very good, Betty Gilpin. But a lot of it, I just sat there going, that's not satire. That's just you pointing at things. Don't try and make this B movie into something highbrow. It's not. End of. So yeah, so I'm kind of a little. Oh, I guess I'm a little of column Jim and a little column Elton.
Yeah.
Phrasing? Do we do phrasing anymore? But anyway, so yeah, I'm a bit 50-50 on this. I liked it, but with a lot of caveats.
I've never been described as a little column. Thank you.
Well, yeah, there you go. It's probably because you spend all the time in the bumming shed.
Probably, yes.
But anyway. So, Darren, this was your pick. What did you think of it?
Indeed. Right, well, I've never seen this before, and it was a film that kind of intrigued, and I have to say I actually quite enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. How much of this did Lindelof actually write? Do we know?
Well, he's the main credited writer, and then there's another guy called Nick Cruz. I'll have a look through the production while everyone's talking, but yeah, it's a script by Nick Cruz and Damon Lindelof. Yeah, there's no real mention about who did what. So yeah, it's a bit. I don't know. I think it's a bit kind of hand wavy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know to be sure. I think I could quite easily pick out the bits that he wrote, because once again, those bits, much like all of his other writing, especially in stuff like Alien, was it Prometheus, and in what's it? It was the other one he did where I fucking hated. Tomorrowland, and oh god, he did another one. And it's all the same. It's all the same. It's like
Yeah.
all the subtle bits, all the bits where you're supposed to, and nuance, go. And that's the end of that. You're like, oh, that was subtle. Good work. That was there. I got that. Yeah, I did. I wouldn't have got that analogy if you hadn't beaten me to death with it on a plank with a sign 6 foot wide saying satire wallop. It's like, oh, for fuck's sake. Anyway,
Okay, he did the screenplay on World War Z,
oh,
Yeah.
there you
No,
go.
no.
Prometheus, Cowboys and Aliens.
Oh, good.
Lots of Lost.
Star Trek Into Darkness. That's the other
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. So he fucked 2 franchises, or should I say a franchise and a book that I really enjoy. And he spunk those both up on screen.
one.
So yeah, this is one of the reasons we don't normally like Lindelof. But so I'm not quite sure why I actually enjoyed this then, if he did most of the writing. Maybe it's because he hasn't got an extended series to write with this. It's just a get in, get out. Maybe that's it. Maybe why I can get through this and actually enjoy some of it, because it's look at this premise. Isn't this interesting? And I don't know where it's going to go. I mean,
But that's the
Fuck
thing
it.
he does. That is the one thing to his credit I will say. That when he writes something, it's always an interesting premise.
yeah, it is.
It doesn't necessarily have the best script,
No.
but it's always an interesting premise. You always sit there and go, okay, right, fine, I'm interested in this. What if you landed on a planet full of genetically altered stuff, and what would it mean for the human race? And big ideas. When it comes to actually writing the fucking thing, nah.
Do you know what? It always reminds me of an interview. Whenever anybody mentions Lindelof, I just think back to that same interview that he did with someone, right? And they said to him, "So you've got this all planned out, haven't you?" It was for the leftovers. That's it. And this is what put me off of watching it. Now I've heard it's a really good show, right? But the question somebody said to him was, when they were doing the promo for season 1, they said, of course, you've got this all planned out, haven't you? And he goes, well, I think it's more interesting the journey that the characters go on than where they're actually going. I thought, you're making it up as you fucking go along, aren't ya?
He's making it up as he goes along.
You don't know. You've not done anything. You've not planned this out at all. You're just rolling dice, aren't you? You're using story cards, or those story dice that you can buy. That you roll them and it makes the story up as you go along.
What is it? Fridge magnets.
Yeah, fridge magnets.
Throwing poetic fridge magnets at a wall.
Yeah, exactly. You're using the equivalent of what David Bowie used to do for his lyrics, which was give another spin on a tombola. I'm not shitting you. That's what David Bowie
I
used
thought
to
Michael
do.
Stipe used to do that with Scrabble tiles.
He probably did. But David Bowie used to cut up bits of newspaper, like sentences and stuff, and he used to put them, I think he used to put them in a tombola and spin it, and then he'd take out groups of sentences and he would make a song out of the most interesting ones. So and he actually had somebody build him was it an electronic database, I think it was,
Okay.
and he just did it at the push of a button after that. It was really quite painful listening to that, considering how much I like Bowie's work. And
Well, you still need someone behind it to sift
You certainly do.
out the nuggets. Anyway, so overall, you liked it.
yeah, overall I liked it.
Not David Bowie's Tombola.
No. Well, David Bowie gives an exceptional spin on the tombola. Like I say, considering how many hits this guy's had, he's really good at spinning that tombola.
Are we talking about Bowie or
we're talking
Lindelof?
about Bowie.
All right.
And
Whereas
you can win one
Lindelof-
of Bowie's Victoria sponges as well.
What?
Do you know
The
what?
fuck?
It's
What
when
the
one
fuck's
of his Victoria
sponges?
When you're talking about tombola, I'm just imagining him being at a fete, and he's got this tombola next to him, and he's got a table, one of these decorator's table that sags in the middle.
Fruit cake on
Well,
it.
he's got a stand full of cakes, and his
We've
Victoria
got
sponge.
this fruit cake here from Doreen. It's a prize in the tombola that I'm going to be spinning in a moment.
If ever one would like to go to the center circle, you'll see the farmyard animals to pet.
And if you see Mr. Johnson, give him £2.50. You can have a ride on a donkey.
Welcome to David Bowie's Village Fates.
Oh, I would love to have got one of David Bowie's Village Fates.
How many conkers are in the jar?
Here's another one. Another competition later on of where's my sausages. They're not where I put them yesterday.
Oh. Anyway, let's not forget to thank the vicar. Anyway. Right. Anyway. We haven't even got to the film. We just left. We left the tracks. We've got off the tracks. We've literally only been reviewing the bloody thing for 10 minutes, and we've done more about David Bowie's Tombola than we have about the movie. Good night, everyone.
I'm
Right.
looking forward to Sunday.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't forget to pick up your litter. Bingo in the hall. Don't forget your bingo in the hall. Bring your own stickers. Right. So that's the end of the hunt. If anyone's got any feedback on it. Right, okay. I don't even know what I was going to ask now.
Well, I'm interested in Jim. What didn't you like about it?
Yeah, yeah, go for it.
The start, the middle, the end.
So it's that little bits in between the credits at the beginning and the credits at the end.
No, seriously, it started out. I thought, okay, right, this is interesting. And the first eye roll was the crate in the field. It goes, yes. If you're thinking you're being clever by referencing a little-known cult film called The Hunger Games, let me tell you, that was a global smash, and everyone knows about this. But then after that, it's just kind of, okay, all right. But it's just so badly structured as a film and as a story. And it's it's a commentary on the divide in American politics. Well, really, what is the commentary? What are you saying, you cunt? What's that? Nothing. You're saying absolutely nothing. And it's kind of, when you get suddenly all right, we're halfway through the film. Sweaty Bollocks, whatever her name is, has just killed all the baddies. What do we do? Flashback? Oh, all right then. All right, let's just change the plot. And the reveal of the plot is she was joking about hunting humans. Somehow it leaked, which let's not even go there. How did our private chat got out in the first place? But then, so what do? You decide to hunt humans to prove them wrong?
Ah. This will...
And it's like, oh, for fuck's sake. I mean, me and Tweet just looked at it and went, fuck off.
This is from the Damon Lindelof playbook of you've got a superhuman on a planet. He wants his people. Put his people in a torpedo. Why? Don't know. Just do it.
In the explosive.
Why hide them in explosives? Just because. Yeah. No. I was down. I was exactly in the same place with that bit. It was just like, oh God.
I was willing to give this a go, but it reached a point of no return of kind of, this is just retarded. I mean, just who signed off on this? This is a mess of a script. And it just, the second half just went really spiraling downhill. It's kind of, the reveal of the plot was nonsense. And the final fight was just bollocks. Oh, I've been stabbed with a bit from a Kenwood chef. I'm dead. I got stabbed as well, but I'll just fucking seal it up with a fucking cook's blowtorch and I'll be fine. Piss off. A big baddie villain like that, she needs a proper death. You're in a kitchen with gadgets. There's all kinds of things you could have done. You could stuck a tit in a blender. You could, you could put a face in a waffle in the iron. You could agree got creative, but no. You get stuck by the little stabby bit from a Kenwood chef. Fuck off.
When you said tit in a blender, for some reason I just thought of the Generation game and that being on the conveyor belt that they had to remember things. A tit in a blender.
Don't forget.
Toy.
Don't forget for taking your taking your bonus.
Still don't I talk nothing like that. Then.
We're having a raffle.
So if he doesn't talk like that at all in real life. I sing like that, and I grant you that.
Exactly. Yeah.
The prize is a tit in a blender.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to Martin finding a picture reference of that.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
No, it'll be Nigel Farage and a Kenwood. You watch.
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, I go along with that, Jim. Some of the well, then I mean, it's tied to that whole thing of the satire, isn't it? It's, or the lack of it, of thinking that just by pointing things out and taking them to their extreme.
It's kind of like, oh, haha, we're being so funny, but you're not saying anything. A point of satire, it makes a point, and this doesn't. It was kind of the first half I could go with it, but I was starting to get things like kind of, oh, you've blown two people up with grenades. That's just lazy. You've done it once, and to be honest, you didn't do either of it well. There was, and it's just that kind of just laziness of it all, and kind of just the sense of that'll do. And saying it's satire is like going, yeah, I know it's shit, but it's satire. Ha ha ha. No, it's not. It's badly written garbage.
I would go along with that because when I watching it, I was enjoying what I was seeing, but when you dive deeper into actually what the story's trying to tell you, it's making an absolute pig's ear of it, isn't it? Because
just basic, it's failing not on satire, but in basic sense. Why do you have a compound with a pathetically small fence to get over? But hey, okay. But we've made a fake gas station. So you knew which way down the road they were going to run. If we went in the other direction, what else have we got built out there? Fake Disneyland? You know what I mean? It's just, and then the whole thing about the guy embedded on the train. I mean, come on. How could you anticipate they would end up hitching a ride on the fucking train?
Yeah. Exactly, yeah.
It's just absolute gibberish.
I mean, that's a Lindelof special of so many random things have to fall into place for the plot to even remotely work that you just go, what if they hadn't done this? What if they hadn't done X, Y, or Z? Then the whole thing would have just fallen apart like a wet blancmange. And
the thing that peed me off all the way through the movie was Hilary Swank. Now, I've got no problems with her, but it was the way that she was always back to the camera or face not in shot, and you're supposed to be sat there going, "Oh, who is this person?" But we already know. We've already seen that. We already know that's Hilary Swank. We already know that's going to. I don't know what the big reveal there was.
I can tell you exactly what the big reveal of that was. There's a sort of ongoing thing now, more and more, and Red Letter Media did a whole thing on it with Bruce Willis. And basically what happens is these cheap movies have sort of like mid-tier stars. And then when they want a big star, like a sort of what I would call an A-lister, what they do is they film them from the back, they film them out of focus, they have body doubles, and then they have like 5 or 6 scenes which they're actually paid to be in.
Ah, see. Okay.
So if you look at like there's like all these Bruce Willis ones that you're seeing suddenly flooding Netflix, like Apex and all this kind of thing, you know, and Beyond Earth or whatever the fuck it's called. All these suddenly he's like on everything, and then what you see is when you watch the film, he's only filmed up close, like hiding behind a tree, but every other shot that you see of him, he's filmed from the back, he's filmed at a distance, he's filmed on a bike, and you film from low angle, so you're only seeing his legs, and it's actually, no, that's a body double, and here's the 1 day of here's the 1 day of filming where he was actually behind a tree.
I see. So they can get like 12 movies in like a month.
Yeah, exactly.
Just by doing that.
Exactly.
Yeah. And they will be the big draw of that movie.
Exactly. Oscar winner Hilary Swank in this low-grade B-movie, sort of Looney Tunes movie. And then all of a sudden it's like, well, actually, no. Hilary Swank was in it for approximately 17 minutes of actual filming, most of which was a fight. The rest of it was A&R, where it's sort of like someone just dubbing over the top of a body double. And it's just like, right, okay, that's that. So, yeah, in fact, like I say, if anyone's interested, I know there's Red Letter Media makes some people go cold and not, but I definitely look up the Bruce Willis marathon that they did. And they literally in 1 hour review like about a dozen Bruce Willis movies, because he's only in it for about 15 minutes total. And all the other times it's all these like distance shots. It's quite funny. Yeah, for me, I think the thing is, I found myself laughing with the sort of like all these kind of CW style stars. You know, you sort of recognize them at the beginning, and they all sort of turn up with, you know, get the guns and get blown up after 5 minutes, and the line like, "What's this Avatar shit?" as they got shot in the back with an arrow. And there was moments like that where I was sitting there going, okay, I'm down with this. I think if you stick with this, you know, just silly Looney Tunes stuff, especially the bit when the girl falls into the tiger trap. The bloke pulls her out of the tiger trap and then basically steps on a landmine and blows her back into the tiger trap. Now, I did laugh at that, especially considering she's now in half and lying in the tiger trap. And there's a bloke going, I can rescue you. And she's like, just give me the gun. I want to blow me fucking head off. It's like, oh no, can't do that. And so there was things like that. And I thought, oh, well, you know what? I'll go with this. I'm all right with this. I can handle this kind of, you know, tongue-in-cheek, silly action. You know, it's a 90-minute movie, in and out. I'll be fine with this. Where it kind of lost me was when it tried to be Get Out. And it was trying to be Get Out without any of the nuance, without any of the ideas. And it seemed to be playing a juggling act, where it's like for every oh, look, there's a hillbilly over there. He wants his Second Amendment rights and he thinks the world is flat. Then there'll be a person over here. They're on the far left. Look, they can't even say things like, they have to run around going, oh God, white people are the worst, even though they're clearing up like the bodies of the people they've just killed. And it's just like, right. And then there's like, oh no, I said something random on Twitter. My life has been destroyed. Well, okay, then we'll have to have a hillbilly come in and start talking about bad faith state actors. And it just seemed like there wasn't a point to the satire. It was just throw it far and wide and offend everyone, or take a pot shot of everyone, so then no one can say, oh, this is... It's a bit like, you know, when you see people arguing over the BBC, and they go, oh, the BBC's all far left propaganda, and then the other bunch go, oh, it's, you know, the government state media, and it's like, well, if they both think, if both ends of the spectrum think the target of their ire is on the other side, then surely the bit in the middle is actually doing the right thing. And the script here is doing exactly that. It's like, no, I'll keep you guys at bay by taking the piss out of these guys over here. and then do the same on the opposite side. At which point you go, well, that's not satire. That's just calling everyone an idiot, sending them all up, and then sitting back and going, job well done, even though you're saying absolutely nothing.
Well, it's like those terrible, scary movie, epic movie parody films where they just did a scene from another movie and going, we're parodying it. Well, no, you didn't put a joke in. You know what I mean? It's just doing it isn't funny in itself. That isn't why Airplane worked when it spoofed Saturday Night Fever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It wasn't just because he had the John Travolta white suit on. That isn't what makes that scene funny, and it's playing the Bee Gees.
It's because he's doing the
this is like the satire equivalent.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of, it is lacking that sort of edge.
Yeah.
Any sort of depth to. They try to get some irony, but it just doesn't really work, because when you're saying you got a guy mopping up going, white people are the worst, it's kind of, I'm sorry, I don't believe these people just gun down for people and say that at the same time, and not. It just doesn't add up, especially when you discover later on that this is the first time they've done it. Whereas in the opening act, it's playing out like they actually do this all the time, and you know what I mean. They've done this 1,000 times before when those guys come into that fake shop. Whereas actually, it's the first time. They've never done it before, and you go, "Hang on, this doesn't work."
Yeah. See, it's scarier when it's their 5th or 6th time doing it, isn't it? Now, they're not great movies, and I couldn't make it through the second one, but Hostel, you have people going off and paying to kill people. And it's scary because these people it's their holiday. They look forward to it. They work all year, and they're like, well, you know what? I'm going to pay $10,000 to go kill someone and just enjoy it. I'm paying for this. I'm going to have bloody good fun doing it. And that in itself is dark, scary. And where do you go with that? Because they're there to do a job. This, I know it's meant to be, there's supposed to be a comedy element to this, but it didn't really come across. It was just bumbling.
Well, yeah. What about you, Del? What did you think about that?
About the film in general?
Well, I mean, about like just the satire and the sort of like, the left are all nutters who are stumbling over every conceivable word, while the right are nutters, but because they're conspiracy theorists.
Well, the whole thing about her getting mistaken for that person, I thought was a bit of a comment on cancel culture in general, where people knee-jerk.
Yeah.
They don't actually do their research, which was the point of that.
Yeah.
They just automatically see something surface value and they make an opinion, and the opinion rules.
Yeah.
And that, and it happens on both sides. It happens on the left and it happens on the right. Right. These are the extreme cases. This is what I took from it anyway. So, where that's concerned, where her being mistaken, that to me that's what that was saying. It was making a point of that. Let's see, what else? Satire. I did like the whole thing about the Jackrabbit as well. The little dark story. It took a bit of a fucking dark turn there. It's sort of like, and then they won the race, and all of a sudden the Jackrabbit comes in with a claw hammer. That I like that, and I like the fact that there was a Jackrabbit after Hilary Swank had been killed. There was a Jackrabbit suddenly in that, and she's like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
Well, what is that supposed
got
to
the loudest
symbolize?
fuck off of the night from that rabbit.
That's the thing, though. Is that trying to symbolize something? Because I couldn't work out what that was trying to symbolize.
I think it's trying to symbolize the fact that the main character just kept on, didn't give up, and actually in the end beat them. I don't know. Maybe that's what he was saying.
See, that's the thing.
That's the only
it's
thing
not-
I could work it out to be in.
But I don't get it. I don't.
Well, the story that she tells is that, you know, that ultimately it doesn't matter what you do, the rabbit always wins.
Okay.
And so when she sees the rabbit, and, you know, that's the whole point. I mean, that's how I read it anyway. I mean, at this point, I was stretching like fucking Mr. Fantastic. But the way I saw it was that she's dying, and if she dies, then as one of the quote unquote deplorables, which is another thing I'll get to in a minute. But if she dies, then the elites win, if you know what I mean. And there's the rabbit coming in, and just to sort of like hammer that home, you know, if she dies, the elites win, you know, because there's the rabbit coming in to watch her die, or something. I mean, it's. I mean, as metaphors go, it's fucking rubbish.
Crowbarred in. It's so crowbarred. It doesn't flow. There on a film where you have these sort of things that pop up, and you're like, oh look, there it is. Let's take another. I'm trying to think. I'm going blank on other movies that do this sort of thing, but other movies have done this more subtly. That works really well. But this just felt. Well, we told a story about a rabbit earlier on. Here's a rabbit.
Here's a rabbit.
And that's
it's a
it.
rabbit. Why? I don't know.
We mentioned one earlier. It was Chekhov's rabbit.
Yeah, it's the
guy
one
from Star Trek, you know. Yeah, fuck off.
The one, the
Go
three-legged
back
dog.
to school, you fucking cunt! Before I come round and break your fingers.
The three-legged dog is America.
You see
Symbolism.
what I mean, though? It doesn't flow well.
Well,
I'm getting more and more angry about this film now. Jeez.
Well, none of the
know
film
what?
flows well.
Go on.
It's just appalling.
Yeah.
There is a film that, from what I remember, I think it does this sort of thing a lot better anyway, and that's a film called The Last Supper, which is about a bunch of left-wing individuals that invite a neo-Nazi to dinner.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't seen it, but I have heard of it. Yeah.
If from what I understand, it does this sort of thing a lot better than this film does. But it's the same sort of thing. It's making a comment on overreaction to stuff, and that maybe murdering these people is not the right way to do it. You know.
Yeah. Well, do you think? I mean, no,
Yeah, but you're not really solving. You're not really.
Yeah, I know.
That's the thing. It's like killing is like, well, you've swept that away under the carpet. You're not really dealing with the issue. You know, you're not talking with them, conversing, and changing their minds that way.
See,
you know.
Yeah, the problem is with this. You know, it goes back to the same old problem I have with all these films like this. If you're going to put a message in, if you're going to make a message, the idea is to either make the message subtle and let the audience divine it, or you put it in front and center and you make sure it's as clear as a fucking bell. You put it right there. You know, I know that people have various feelings about Don't Look Up, for example, but that's right there, front and center, going, all this is saying is that people are idiots and they will ignore things if it's convenient to do so, no matter how much disaster is befalling them, because they don't want to face the truth. They'd much rather face a lie and live in ignorance. Yeah. Okay, fine. If you don't like the film, totally understand, totally get it. But the thing is, it's not subtext. It's right there, right in your face for 2 hours. Wallop. This, then you've got sort of more subtle films, you know. Let's go. This won't sound like a subtle film, but let's talk about, like, for example, with Aliens, which is about motherhood. It's about family. It is. You know, just because there's a lady blowing up monsters in it, that's not the thing. Is you can watch it and just go, yeah, action film, or you can look at it about mothers and protecting their children and all that kind of thing. You can divine a theme behind it. You don't have it right front and center. You can just sit there and pick it apart. This just goes, Oh, we got a Looney Tunes action battle royale style movie, which is fine and lovely. Let's talk about politics. What are we going to talk about politics? Well, we'll talk about how the libs hate the far right, and then we'll talk about the far right thinking that the libs are better than us. The blue bloods versus the rednecks. Ha 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 ha. You know, all this kind of shit. And you'll go, right, okay, so what as an audience member am I supposed to be taking away from this piece of information? They're both as bad as each other? Fine. Okay. So, I think we understand this. 5 minutes on Twitter will tell you everything you need to know. You'll either get people grandstanding that someone said something wrong. I mean, I saw on IO9 this morning that there's an advert for the Star Wars hotel that depicts the stormtroopers as Nazis because they're taking Chewbacca away in handcuffs, and people are offended by this. And it's like, what? Okay, why? I mean, they are the bad guys. They are fascists. They are Nazis. They're not just
I don't know the way it works.
Yeah, they're not just comedy sidekicks to be blown up. They're bad guys, and if it's not blunt enough for you, they blow up an entire planet. But anyway, so there's that. So you got that far left kind of offended at everything thing, and then you got the far right, which is like everyone's wearing a MAGA hat and thinking we're gonna frog march our way into Europe, and nobody's gonna build a wall 6 miles high so that. Imagine, Schrodinger's immigrants who won't do all our work but are taking all our jobs will climb over a wall. Oh no. If you're going to do a movie about that sort of thing, we'll pick a lane. Aim at one of them, one side or the other. Mm-hmm. Just don't fucking just go, everyone's silly. Because that's just like...
And then, killing people's bad,
Okay. Yeah. And that's the bit that annoyed me. If this film had none of that in, I know this is kind of weird to say, don't bother with satire or trying to be clever, but if it had just gone fucking full Looney Tunes and had just gone, she's a badass, they've picked the wrong person, because internet, they've picked the wrong person. They've put them in a game where they think they're the winners because that's what they do, because they're the elites. They just think they can do anything. Do the purge thing. Then great. Thank you very much. You've bitten off more than you can chew because you think you're above it all because you've got privilege. Fine. Okay. There's a story right there. Boiled it down. You got a bit of satire. Thanks very much. But this scattershot nonsense. Just give me Betty Gilpin looking at bombs underneath trucks and running over the poor bloke from Blue Ruin, kicking him out of the car and running his head over.
The way that she just hang off for that little hook and then just slowly turned and then boot him out of the car.
It's the bloke in the back going, what the fuck are you doing? You was thinking to safety. It's like, oh, for God's sakes.
I think that's my other problem with it. Kind of the satire hitting and missing, I could forgive if it delivered a good, for want of a better word, battle royale sort of action set pieces. But as it was, they were all kind of... There were some good bits, but they were just so badly paced. It was kind of right. You've got all these, this little gang of evil people, and then just kill them halfway through. And then, oh shit, why did we do that? Oh Christ, now what are we going to do? And you know what I mean? It was kind of, you need to build these guys up and then have her come after them and hunt them down. You get that satisfying sort of catharsis. Whereas this, you just get that stupid fight at the end. It's just kind of like, come on. But you needed more than that for the big bad guy. Killing all the low mark characters all in one go was more satisfying, but that was halfway through the film, unfortunately.
Yeah. No, I did like the gag about he's training them all, and it's like, oh right, what did you do again? Oh, I was stunt coordinator on Tears of the Sun, starring Bruce Willis. I thought that was quite funny. It was like, that's your qualifications, is it? But yeah, go on. Sorry, Jim. Anyway, carry on.
Well, that was another problem. Like, she's been training for months. Yeah, by some fucking numpty, to let the mic run space. Have you seen combat? Yes, I have. Where? On the telly.
Yeah.
And it's kind of, someone's been to Afghanistan who's proved to be an absolute killing machine. Wouldn't have just sawn her head off with a carving knife and kicked it round the hall.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be like ridiculous fisticuffs and Kenwood mixers getting involved. And that'd been far more funny. She's trained. Yuppie's trained for months. She comes in and just gets slapped down, just like a cat toying with a mouse. Poof. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
No. Do you want to try again? Poof. No. Right, your tits are going in the blender.
Yeah.
The end.
Tits in a blender again.
Won't be more entertaining than what we got.
David
more inventive
Bowie's
than the bollocks
tits
we
in
had.
a blender. Funny little tits in a blender. Don't forget your raffle tickets. Anyway, yeah, again, but then you get into that sort of John Wick thing of, if you got someone who's super heroic, absolutely unstoppable, when they do finally do a showdown, because you have to have a showdown in these kind of things, that other person has to be absolutely rock hard and proven to be the case. But in the case of both John Wick and this, the main sort of villain is utterly pointless, or shown to be, no reason for you to fear them at all. You're just like, oh, okay. It's a bit silly. Darren.
Yes.
Sorry, this is your film. Have you got anything you would like to bring up, sir?
No, I mean, like I say, I enjoyed it.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it. That is it. I just did.
No, I just did.
I just did.
You just did. That's fine. It's okay to enjoy it. I just, we're not saying you can't.
One thing I did enjoy.
Go on.
And I know I said that this is like a 45-minute movie stretched out. I like the way that it started off and you didn't know who your main character was. Because you have the pan of on the plane where you have the blonde lady on the plane. You're like, okay, she must be our main lady in this film. Yeah. Brilliant. This is going to be good.
Yeah.
And then you see her with the ball gag type thing and our real main lady doing all the compass stuff with her hair and a pin and that. But then she disappears. That's it. You don't see her until the gas station, do you?
Yeah.
And so you go through this cycle of, so this is the main person, and then she gets taken out. So that guy that takes over from her, he must be the main person, mustn't he? Bearing in mind that I've totally forgotten what was on the poster at this time, so I'm like, I don't know who our main person is. I really don't.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
So then you think the main guy, but then he treads on a landmine, gets blown up, and then you think, oh, the guy with the gun, he's going to be the main guy, and he's helping all the other people out. And then you have this set piece in the gas station. You think, right, okay, this is starting to have a feel about it. I feel like there is a direction somewhere along the line, but none of these characters are our main character.
No.
It's only until they all get wiped out and then our main character comes in, and you're already 20, 30 minutes deep into this movie.
Yeah.
And first, because I watched the first half twice. I watched the whole film and then I went to watch it again and ran out of time for the second watching. And I was a bit annoyed with all the jumping around the first time watching it, but I quite appreciate it the second time round, where I didn't know who the main person was. I liked the jumping around and the ambiguity where I was, who I was supposed to be aligned with. I quite like that.
Yeah, I'll give you that. I mean, I like the whole thing of, you don't know who that sort of, who do you root for? Who are you looking at? Who is your main character? Because that does keep you sort of guessing, and it does add to add one thing, which is that whole sense of, okay, well, the way it's going, absolutely anyone in this film is as good as dead. It doesn't, we can't look at one character and say, oh, well, this is our main character, because frankly, every other, oh, this is the main character, has basically carked it in about 30 seconds flat. And so from that perspective, I did appreciate that. And again, like I say, I think the action sort of as just a straightforward action movie was fine, and it had some interesting bits. And when it was just taking the piss, I thought that was when it was at its best. But when it tried to do something else, it was just like, oh no. But the like I say, the interesting thing was that all the characters who got blown up in that first sort of like 10-15 minutes are all like what I'd call TV actors, CW actors. They kind of, you've seen them in television shows dozens of times, so you think, oh, okay, well, I recognise that person. Where from? I don't know. And then 5 minutes later, oh, they're dead. Okay, well, that's a bit unusual. So that sort of thing I really kind of dug. But, yeah, I think
it needed more actors, I think. I know it's on a budget, but with Battle Royale, you've got lots of characters there, and you can feel empathy for all of them as they're being taken out. With this, it was just, let's kill a man off screen with a hand grenade. Let's do this. And, they're going to swap sides? I'm not too sure. It could be a double cross, but it just didn't feel like there was enough weight there. And then when she got to the bunker and took out all the people there, it felt too easy. As if like there was supposed to be 5 other people after that, but there wasn't.
When it came to that bit with the bunker, I half expected a hand grenade to just go bouncing in there and just take the lot out in one go. Yes,
I was, when the pig came down.
Yeah,
that's exactly what I was thinking.
And maybe easier, a grenade strapped to the actual pig.
Yeah. I thought exactly the same thing. I thought any second now, this is just all going to be over in a single sort of like comedic flash. And
of course, the Arnold Schwarzenegger style punchline where she tips in and just goes, "This is what they call making bacon," and then,
Yeah, I think if they'd done that, I would have had a lot more respect for the writing. But I think it goes back to that thing that Jim was saying earlier, that once you get the flashback and you know that actually this whole thing is made up on the fly, and the reason for it being made up in the first place is because someone's just lost the plot and just wants to just take revenge on a bunch of internet nobodies, which feels very Guns Akimbo as well, I should point out.
Yeah.
Sort of Guns Akimbo from the opposite direction. And it's like, you sort of, once you know that, it kind of undermines the whole thing. And then when you see that it's only like 7 of them or 8 of them, you sort of go, oh, so this is it then. Because, there's that whole thing when she's beating up Tears of the Sun stunt coordinator, and he goes, "Oh, you got no idea what you're about to face," and all this sort of thing. And I think, right, okay, then there's going to be something pretty damn awesome sitting at the end of this. Is there going to be hundreds of guards? How big is this estate? And then it turns out, well, no, actually, it's just a house with one person in it. And there isn't an awful lot of breaking in. It's just walk up to the door, ring the doorbell, put your gun in the letterbox and carry on for the final fight. It's like, really? Did you just run out of ink or paper or ideas? I can't work it out. What happened there? What went through your mind where you suddenly just decided that the next 25 minutes of fighting to the main bad guy should be just excised for I just rung the doorbell, they should let me in. Because that was a bit weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm coming to kill you, but, I'm going to ring the bell first.
Yeah, bing bong. Bing bong, billy bong, bing. This is David Bowie, and I'd like to let you know that someone's coming in to blow you up. Oh dear. David Bowie monologuing is going to be quite funny. I like that. Has anyone got anything additional they'd like to add? Anything they'd like to bring up? Because I'll be perfectly honest with you, I don't have a lot beyond the satire being a bit wobbly and the humour being humour being better in the action than anything else. But has anything else anyone want to bring up or point out?
No.
I can't think of anything, no. I think I'm done.
Oh, okay. That's cool. No problems. Dal, you sure you got nothing?
No, I'm fine.
You're fine. Okay. What does it sound like? What does it sound like? You're going to go sit in the corner and just go, no, I'm fine. Just give me a minute.
I'm going off to a David Bowie fade.
Darren, are you happy with your choice?
I'm happy with my choice.
Yeah.
Yes, I got my fun. I've had my fun. Now I'm done.
Done
Off
fun.
to the shed for some bum. No.
And on that note, I think we'll draw a line under that. I'm off to the bumming shed. Anyway, so if anybody's got anything they'd like to let us know about, think we've missed or want to bring up, then you know all the usual destinations: Facebook, Black Door Facebook group on there, Twitter, and of course feedback at blackdoorpodcast.com. Right. Well, it is actually my turn to choose a movie. So I am going to go for something very, very up to date. And it's so up to date that as of the time of recording, it isn't actually out on the streaming platform. In fact, it'll be out on the streaming platform tomorrow, as in Wednesday, the 16th of March is its first day of play on Disney+. The movie, it was in the cinemas not more than 2 months ago, tops. And it is Guillermo del Toro's Nightmare Alley.
Oh.
Ooh.
Yeah, I saw that on a coming soon on Disney Plus, and I thought that we are having some of that. So
Okay.
yes, it is on Disney Plus as of the 16th of March. And I've definitely not seen it. It was one that was in the cinema, but when you get a multiplex with like Spider-Man, then it's just like 72 screens of Spider-Man and one showing of Nightmare Alley stuck in a corner that you can only see on a Wednesday when the sun is rising in the north or something like that. So I haven't seen it. Has anyone else seen this or heard of this?
No, I've heard of it, but not actually seen it at all.
Jim?
I've not seen it. A few weeks ago, I did track down the actual original Nightmare Alley from the 40s, and we did watch that with Tyrone Power.
Oh, okay. So you'll have a unique perspective on it.
Yes, yeah, 'cause it's based on a novel, apparently. But from my understanding for my limited research to try and avoid spoilers for this one, but kind of Del Toro's took one take on the book where the 40s noir took like a different spin on the novel. So there's kind of three versions of the same story.
Okay.
Kind of like Let the Right One In would be a good analogue.
Yeah.
Like the two movie versions, kind of, it's all based on the same source, but they're sort of
Very
had
different
spins
films
on it. Yeah. So I mean, I'm very intrigued to see it because I really enjoyed the 40s one. I thought it was a really good movie. It was very interesting.
Okay.
And it's kind of interesting where Del Toro takes this particular story.
Okie dokie. And what about you, Elton?
Never even heard of it.
Okay.
But I'm looking at the cast. It's got some stonking cast on here.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. It's got what was it? Kate Blanchett. It's got what's his name?
Coletti.
Tony Collette. Yeah. What's it? Blimey.
Willem Dafoe, Ron Perlman.
There you go. Thank you. You read it out because you're looking at it. I completely forgot who's in it. I'm just
Rooney Mara.
Yep. And then who's the main guy?
Bradley Cooper.
Bradley Cooper. That's it. The more serious Ryan Reynolds. That's how I see him, which is probably deeply, deeply unfair. But I like the sound of it when I heard about it. I didn't get a chance to see it, so when it came out tomorrow, I thought, well, there's a bloody good excuse to watch it. So there you go. So we will be doing Nightmare Alley, and also, just so everyone knows, we will be taking next week off because next Tuesday, the 22nd of March, I will be off watching Hans Zimmer at the O2. So there you go. So I will be away listening to lots of pipe organs and.
So he's performing. He's just not like he hasn't gone there to Cineworld to watch a film, or
no, he hasn't just
gone to Frankie and Benny's to
Yeah, well, apparently he's gone to TGI Fridays. I'm just meeting him there.
Has he?
Yeah, he's
Okay.
yeah. He's doing the girl from Ipanema in the lifts.
Brilliant.
So yes, there you go. So we will be back in 2 weeks' time. We will be back recording on the 29th of March. Yeah. So until then, thank you very much for listening. Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Darren. Thank you, Elton.
No problem.
And like I say, if anyone's got any feedback for any of these episodes, do send it into feedback@blackdogpodcast.com, or get onto Twitter, which is @Black Dog Podcast, or go onto Facebook, which is facebook.com/groups/The Black Dog Podcast. Now, before I say goodbye, because I do the saying goodbye bit, but then missing the entire my entire formatting, I completely missed Pimp's Corner. Good Lord.
Oh, no.
The fabric of reality is coming apart. I'm D-Mob happy. Jim, what is happening over in Hypnagoria land this week?
Well, this week, as soon as I finish editing it at the Commentary Club, we're covering the cultiest cult film ever, the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Moving on the main show, I've started a series celebrating the centenary of Nosferatu, and this week's episode will be the first of several parts delving into that film, its history, and the rather interesting connections and people behind it.
Nice. Cool. And that's all over at hypnagoria.com.
It is indeed.
Lovely. And what about you, Elton? What's going on over at Rogue 2?
I have an episode of Grand Prix podcast out because the season is starting this weekend. Yay!
Don't you mean Race to Survive? Drive to Survive?
Drive to Survive, yeah. It's on Netflix anyway, yes. So looking forward to my premiere of Netflix. There we go.
Nice.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
And this week I had Andy on Shonky Lab to talk about Titanic. Not the film, the actual boat.
Right. Okay.
Or it's a ship, but you know.
I was going to say, don't call it a boat.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a submarine. He gets very cross about those sort of things. So yeah, cool. Yes, fine, excellent. Darren, are you on anything apart from a huge amount of drugs?
I was going to say horse tranquilizers, but that's just me and me hip.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm not. I'm available for weddings and bar mitzvahs and stuff, and
just reasons, stuff,
just reasons.
things. Okay.
What do you do at these weddings and bar mitzvahs?
And wouldn't you like to know?
Yeah. And now it's off.
You'll have to book me.
Exactly.
Now it's off to the bumming shed to just bum around. Take a ticket.
Come along and have a go on Uncle Darren's bouncy castle of fun. You get a free lolly.
Right. Anyway, yeah.
Ground control to Major Bum.
I feel like this podcast has regressed about 87 years. It's all good. It's all good.
Moral 12.
Yes. Bum 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 bum. Anyway,
I want a David Bowie cake stand T-shirt.
Do you?
David Bowie's cake stand. It's got
Let's
sprinkles.
bum. Put on your red shoes and I'll get the lube.
Getting the sprinkles out for your lads. Right. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. I think this has gone on far enough. This nonsense. Anyway, thank you very much for listening again. Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Darren. Thank you, Elton.
No problem.
And presuming we still got listeners by the end of this, thank you all for listening, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks' time for Nightmare Alley. Until then, take care. Tatty bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Ta-da.
And the winning ticket is number 47.
There's a voice that keeps on calling me. Down the road, it's where I'll always be. Every stop I make a new friend. Can't stay for long, just turn around and I'm gone again. Maybe tomorrow I'll wanna settle down. Until tomorrow, I'll just keep moving on.
Get out of the booth, Jack.
No, I like it in here.